Are you ready? It's time for another great infotaining show filled with power-packed business and life information. Welcome to Your Future Is Now with your host, Jim Grant, and co-host, Don McGrath. Want to know how to create a fantastic TED Talk? Or how you can become an author or a speaker or build your own online business? Maybe it's reaching a level of success in your life that you deserve. Their show is designed to provide information to assist you towards your success and destiny. Each week, Jim and Don will interview a special guest and share exciting lessons. So grab a pen and paper, take some notes. Thanks for joining the show. Now, here's Jim.
And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Grant. Your Future Is Now is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com. And last week, Dandy Don McGrath, who's normally with us as a host, he was unable to be with us. But Dandy Don, I want to say hello to you and thank you for being back in the saddle, brother. You were missed.
Oh, thank you so much. And I really apologize for missing, as I might have said in a previous show, I was on a 2-month rock climbing trip trying to do the show from the road. But coming back across the country from New York to Colorado, there was the campground, check in, check out thing. So I just couldn't make it work. And I was sorry I missed that great show with Rick. Gosh, I really wish I could have been there, but, things happen.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. Before we talk about Rick, I want to give some shout-outs this morning. First of all, our producer, Ben. He's a former Marine, and he does a great job behind the scenes, making our show sound great and all the wonderful things you do. So, Ben, thank you so much. Also, Lisa, that does our introduction and she handles all of our commercials. She does a great job for us, and thank you, Lisa. And to our audience. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're just extremely humbled here at Your Future Is Now, because in the month of September, we had a total of 896,321 downloads of our show. This includes the podcast and on iTunes. And so far this morning, just before we went live, I checked the numbers. We are already at 46,325 downloads. And Dandy Don, I don't know about you, but that just absolutely floors me. I just want to say thank you to the audience.
Thank you to the audience. Thank you to the team at TogiNet. And in talking to other people who do shows and podcasts, I think TogiNet and our partners are doing a great job in helping to get the word out about the show. So it's just, we couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. And last but not least, in the shout outs and the thank you, I've got to give a huge shout out to Sandra for the great job that she does. And Dandy Don, you and her grew up pretty much in the same area there in New York, didn't you?
Yeah, it's funny, we're on a kind of get to know you call, and it turns out that, Sandra has roots back in Troy, New York, where I was born, and RPI, where I got my doctorate, and in the small town that I was from, Scotia, New York. So, yeah, we hit it off immediately.
Absolutely. And Don mentioned about Rick Cesare being on our show last week. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what, if you haven't caught that show, please go to toginet.com. You can go to / and shows, SHOWS, / Your Future Is Now. Download his show because Rick, he's been associated with some big, promoting some big names. You may have heard of GoPro. How about Sonicare, OxyClean? And when he said the George Foreman grill, he had me because I had to have one of those. And he started that company from just a startup to over $1 billion in sales in just a few short years. He also, ladies and gentlemen, offers his free complimentary gift. You go to his website, which is rickcesari.com. That's RICKCESARI.com. I'll repeat that. RICKCESARI.com. And you can download it there. And of course, he's a best-selling author, speaker, consultant, marketing and branding strategy guru. And this is one comment that he made that I love. Don, he says, I have sold more consumer products through video than anyone alive. That's a huge statement to make, isn't it, brother?
That's a huge statement. And, when you talk $1 billion in sales, I mean, that's enormous. And I don't know about you, Jim, but I am so humbled with the quality of the guests that this show is attracting. After just a few months being on the air. And I just feel so, because like you say, Jim, we're here, we're the facilitators, right? And we're really brought up by our guests, elevated by our guests.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to our show regularly, we talk about 35 to 40% of the time. So it's about time for me to hush and let Dandy Don introduce the wonderful lady that we know from Phoenix, Arizona. Dandy Don, would you be so kind as to welcome and introduce Jackie to our show, please?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And before we started, I just said to Jackie that I was so happy to have her on her show, because I still remember when Jim and I went down to our first Network Together iNetwork Expo back in, I believe it was early May. And yes. Jackie was the first person we met when we walked through the door. And they were getting set up, and we offered help with some balloons. And Jackie Zocolli, you made us feel right at home. You welcomed us with open arms, and that really started a tremendous relationship, not just with you, but with Robert, Sean, and the rest of Network Together. So welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. I think we just hit it off right up front.
Yes, ma'am, we really did. And, you're going to be sharing. You had a comment here I really like. You talked about how your wisdom is justified. And I'm not going to say the three-letter word that you used there, but because you're a lady, right? And that word is age. She says, my age justifies my wisdom, my developed clarity. I like that. Teaches the excitement of awareness and ignites the spark of action and change. Wow, that is just describes who you are, doesn't it?
Well, I do try to do that in everything I do, because the more we're aware of all the things around us, we can take advantage of them. We ignore so many of them. They're just so much hidden that we don't pay attention to. So, yeah, I do to my best to be able to help people in a positive way, being aware of what's around them.
Yeah, we saw that, Don and I did, Dandy, because when we walked in, like you said, she was the first person we met. And she just made us feel like we were just, long-lost strangers, and made us feel welcome. And it set the tone for everything else during the event for me. How about you, Dandy?
It really did. And, Jim and I are no youngsters either. I mean, we've got some stripes,
What do you say?
my modeling days are clearly over. But, I'd like to take this head on. Right? Because I remember being a young engineer working at General Electric, and I would sometimes be a little frustrated with some of the scientists. I worked at the research center, and they were maybe in their 60s, and they'd be like, the schedule, nothing. We got to get this right, whatever. And I'd be like, no, we got to hit the schedule. And I guess my point is that we all bring something, regardless of age. We all bring that perspective. Right. And when you're young and you're new, you bring a certain perspective. When you're kind of in the middle, you've got a different perspective. And once you've got the stripes that we have, you bring a whole different perspective, and they're all valuable.
You're exactly right, Don. And I mean, we often teach in our courses at speakerspathway.com. We have complimentary gifts, and I'm going to have Don just a moment offer a couple of those, or mention a couple of those that you can get. But our philosophy of it is that it's not what you can take out of the world, it's what you can give to others and share with others. And that just dominoes. That's what really makes your life worth living. And Dandy Don, would you be kind enough to share one of the complimentary gifts? Tell the folks about it, please. Absolutely,
it's my pleasure. So we believe in giving. We want to get people from the sidewalk to the stages, which is Jim's tagline, which I'll steal for a moment. But I was just corresponding with someone that I coached at a TEDx event in Cocoa Beach earlier this spring. Just, how you doing? I came aware I actually have a speaking opportunity. I bounced off of her, and we touched base. And I said, so how's it going? She says, boy, I couldn't be happier. I just landed a sweet book deal based upon the information that was in my TEDx talk. And so, people ask, well, why would I want to do one of these? That's why, right? It gets you becoming what I call a celebrity expert, a selexpert. So if you want to know how to get on a TEDx stage, how to deliver a great TEDx talk that gets you that kind of notoriety, go to speakerspathway.com, and at the very top, you'll see a menu item for TEDx training. Click that, and you'll get 5 simple steps to create your kick butt TED Talk. And so totally complimentary from Speakers Pathway. So, if you're looking to land a sweet book deal, if you're looking to elevate yourself to a celebrity, TEDx Talks are a great way.
Yes, sir, they really are. And thank you so much for sharing that. And we've only got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to fill in a little time here if I may. But I want Jacque to be able to share with us when we come back from break about turning business cards into gold. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the basic reason why you hand out a business card. And I want Jacque to go in. We're just going to turn the mic over to her and just let her go when we come back from break. But I just like to say when it comes to speaking, a lot of people think that you're on a physical stage in front of, an audience, and that's true. But speaking is also very, very critical. If you're going to do a video about your product, your business, your service, whatever, or even if you're going to do a Facebook Live, you need to be able to sound interesting and be able to deliver your message to the people. And that's what speaking is all about. And Dandy Don, you are a speaking geek. That's what you're good at, isn't it, brother?
I don't know who gave me that name. I hope it wasn't myself, but I am truly a speaking geek. And I can't wait when we come back for Jacque to, maybe she can set some of her thoughts on how speaking plays into when you're at a networking event, even when you have just 30 seconds maybe to make an introduction, some of the gold that she can add to us. I'm geek out about it. I can't wait to hear.
Absolutely, because, and speaking is just like our radio show. The reason why we have so many downloads, a lot of people are wondering, how are these guys doing it? Well, it's not what we want to say. It's what do the people want to hear, because we specialize in infotainment. And if you're wanting to hear how to turn your business cards into gold by Jacque Zocolli, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. This lady is dynamite. And we've got about 30 seconds left. And Dandy Don, I tell you, when you hear the comment, turning your business cards into gold, would you just share what that means to you when you just hear those words, sir?
I'll just share with you something right here. I've got like a pile of cards sitting on my desk and like a totally random pile of stuff. I can think of the worst word, but it's stuff. And so I'm leaving gold on my table.
We'll be right back right after these messages.
SpeakersPathway.com is the proud sponsor of Your Future Is Now, a show dedicated and aligned in perfect harmony with the vision and mission of Speakers Pathway. Dr. Sony Jackson's expertise is on the art of marketing while cultivating a long-term customer relationship in your business world. Do you know what to say or how to deliver your message to complete strangers? If so, Sony can help you. Tamara Hunter is a cancer survivor and works with people to focus their message or mission to the audience they want to reach. Do you feel called to create a movement to make the world a better place? If so, Tamara can help you. For additional information from any of our executive training directors, go to speakerspathway.com. That is, speakerspathway.com.
Man cannot live by bread alone. He must have his peanut butter. Peanut butter is a pate of childhood, and it's not just for kids, as dogs love it too. Last night I gave my dog a pill hidden in peanut butter. What's a word for a messy concoction that helps the medicine go down? Sliver sauce. Mice apparently prefer peanut butter to cheese when it comes to luring them into the trap. But there are even more practical uses for peanut butter. Peanut butter contains natural oils, which makes it perfect for removing all kinds of sticky things, like gum stuck in your shoe or in your hair. What's a word for the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth? Arachnophobia. And according to Barry Goldwater, if you don't mind smelling like peanut butter for 2 or 3 days, peanut butter is a darn good shaving cream. It's words you never heard. I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Your Future is Now is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com. Please go to SpeakersPathway.com and download your complimentary gifts. We have about 6 of them there, and I'm going to ask Dandy Don if he would, right quickly, just give us another one there they might find there, Dandy.
Absolutely. If you go to speakerspathway.com, that's our homepage, right smack in the middle, you can't miss it. It says complimentary gifts. If you click on that, at the very top is an offer from one of our executive training directors, Koji Samaldi, who is a video expert, not only a technical video expert, but also a composition expert. He thinks about the flow. He thinks about the composition of the images. And what Koji is offering is an audit of all your video assets. You know how valuable that is? So it's an incredible value. So this is a free gift from Koji to you. All you have to do is go to speakerspathway.com, click on complimentary gifts, click the button by Koji's picture and the short description of what he's offering, and that can be yours.
Thank you so much, Dandy. And right before the break, we were going to get Jacque to talk about turning your business cards into gold. So, ladies and gentlemen, lock and load your pens or grab a pencil and some notes and take some notes because, Jacque, would you be so kind as to share with the audience and us about can we turn our business cards into gold? I got a stack of these things.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. And I'll bet they're sitting there in a box, too. If you're like most of the population, they're either in a box or a bag or in a drawer. And if you're really lucky, you got a couple on the computer. Which
You're
is
exactly
another whole talk. Yeah, that's it, exactly. But, it's really interesting to me that we look at networking and the word of networking, and it means so many things to all of us. But to me, it's an art. It's really a science. And the purpose of networking is to become word of mouth. And many of us don't think about that, but that to me is the total purpose of why I am networking, because obviously people buy from those that tell them it's great. And of course they know, like, and trust them. So that's why they buy. And the last time I checked, you cannot do word of mouth by yourself.
Well, you can, but you end up in a loony bin.
No, exactly. You can talk in the mirror and you can talk forever, but it's not going to do any good. And you cannot go over to your best friend and throttle them and say, make me word of mouth. That's not going to work either. So there has to be someone else in the formula. Thus, why I'm here. And so the whole point is to be able to get people who find you remarkable, who are targeting the same audience you are, to remark about you that you are wonderful, so that that target audience will buy your product or service. It's really that simple. Now, I'm not going to give up the floor to everybody else, but that's as simple as it totally is. So I'm going to take a chance here real quick, that people aren't going to fall asleep on this. The one thing I want you to do is to visualize. And since you can't see me, it's not so bad. You don't have to close your eyes. But I want you to visualize what it's like to be word of mouth. And the visualization is you're walking into a networking event, and as soon as you walk in, someone says to you, oh my gosh, I've got 3 people you need to meet. Oh, wow. Here, after the meeting, let's talk. So you go, yeah. And then during the testimonial part of that meeting, you come up with a testimonial for someone. And by the way, someone does the same for you. And whoa, this is kind of cool. And then after the meeting, somebody comes over and says, we have to talk because I know exactly where you're going and I have 3 people. And you go, wow. Now I understand why I'm doing these crazy meetings every week, because I have now become word of mouth. So I want you to get that feeling as we go along. I can only do so much in the entertainment area, so you're going to have to keep that warm fuzzy going as we talk and be able to think about that's what you really want. Well, I don't know about you, but many of the people I speak to are frustrated when they go to the networking events. They go and they spend, 45 minutes, sometimes up to an hour getting there, same getting home. Once they get there, they're frustrated because the people that they speak to or talk to haven't a clue what they're doing, and they're pushing their product like crazy, so they end up feeling like they're groveling for dirt or whatever it happens to be they need. Mm-hmm. So many people are frustrated, and if they only knew the game, if they only knew the way to play it, the whole system, which is what I am entertaining you with, hopefully, mm-hmm. is that it will make it easier for you and more fun. It really will make it fun. So there is literally a magic of creating strategic alliances. So before we go into the strategic alliances, how to flip the frustrations of the networking events. This may be your first nuggets. One of the first things that you need to realize is go to the event at your best time of day. Don't go to the 7 o'clock one when you're not awake. Go to the one that's the best time of day for you. Don't just assume that it's everybody's best time and you're going and you're sound asleep. So the best time is important. The second is know the reason that you're going there. Guess what? Your customer's not there. Probably. Your customer's not there. And you're going, what the heck am I doing there? Well, what you're doing there is to find alliances. Wow. Alliances, people who are going the same direction you are, the same target audience that you have. You're not competing unless you both sell jewelry or hair products or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You always have something that you can give to another and to work with, to blend. So alliances are what I'm all about. And so then the next thing is when you're talking to people, listen and find out what their expertise is, what their need is. I always try to find a need. And a lot of times I'll say, what's your need? And people look at me like I'm from another planet. Who cares? I do. Mm-hmm. And you care. You should be able to care. Because when you supply needs, when you give instead of asking for, you've all of a sudden started to build that alliance. And they'll say, why go anywhere else if I have this resource? So that's your real first step. So those are some pointers. And realize that no one cares what you know until they know that you care, as Teddy Roosevelt said, and it makes so much sense. It's all a giving process, and networking is what you give, not what you get.
You know, I love something you said there, and that I know I face this, and I know most of the people, if they're honest with themselves, have the same problem. And it's similar to how we approach social media. So people go to a networking event thinking, I'm going to find some clients or customers. And they go there, and after one meeting, they're frustrated, just like you said. It's a different mindset, right? I love what you said about your customers probably aren't there. And you're planting the seeds to branch out much further beyond that virtual room or real room.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I could just pipe in here for a moment, and not to interrupt you, Jackie, because you got some great information. But what, popped into my mind is that you're teaching principles that's applicable across the board. And to give you an example, when Sandra and I went through the process of promoting the shows, we started talking about it, and I went over with Don, and he fully agreed. We picked up all the shows that we had, and we promoted all those shows. The good quality shows, because the guests that bring good infotainment is what we're about. And by blessing them and getting them up to, our high is like 85 or 86,000. One of our shows has reached 80s. Another one's in the high 80s too. And I mean, by blessing them, ladies and gentlemen, what we've done is blessed ourselves. That's why we last month had 896,000 plus downloads. And that's why me and Don are saying, holy smokes, but that's that pay it forward principle. And that's how you look to how to be a blessing to others first. And that's, Jackie, I think that's what you're talking a little bit about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, again, it's the giving. And then they realize that you're not there to ask for something.
Right.
And it's the alliances that you can build. So people, they're so used to going to an event, and all they are is customer driven. All they can think of is buy my product. Mm-hmm. And really, that's a totally wrong mentality. Sure, the people there need to know what you do and what you offer. And when you actually, there is a time when you're going to be talking about that. That's your elevator speech. And I can give a whole thing on elevator speech. But the main concept on elevator speech is to be able to elicit the feeling that people are going to have, the emotion, when they take your product or service.
Wow.
That's what you want to get across. It's not like, well, I have insurance, I have life insurance, I have auto insurance, I have, when you want to do that for your auto, let me know. No, that's not it. It's as simple as, I think of the one with selling hearing aids. It was so simple. He says, what is it that people want when we're selling hearing aids? Well, they want to be able to hear, they want to blah, blah, blah. No, they want the feeling of independence. So it's emotions. We drive everything by emotions. And so when you give that little elevator, you have to flip it up every time. You don't do the same one that they can all repeat every single time, because you have to address them. You have to address them and who they know. So who they know is really important. Not what do they know, if they know, who do they know? Then they look in their brains and say, this is exactly who I know. So that's the concept when you're at the meetings themselves and you're doing your little elevator. So the feelings, who they know, and then exactly who it is that you're looking for. And I prefer you saying an alliance. So
Jackie, I love what you said about not using. Have you ever been to a networking event, a regular event, where people recite it like like they're not even sure what they're saying? They're just reciting it. And that does not elicit any emotion out of me. So I love what you said, that, when you get in this mode of rehearsing the same doggone thing, it has no emotion in it.
No, it has to go right to the person. And when the whole group can say your whole ad, you're obviously off base. What are they going to do? They're going to go walk out in the world and recite I don't think so. They don't even know what they're saying.
That is a nugget. Write that down. Write that down, people. I'm telling you, that is a nugget.
The feeling that people will get. What is that emotion?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a break for a station. Messages. We'll be right back.
This show, Your Future Is Now, is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com. And just like the show, we are dedicated and aligned in perfect harmony with the same vision and mission of helping people to find their future. Is fear holding you back from your calling or your life mission? Do you struggle with taking that first step? If so, Bill Henrich is our catalyst to help you create perspectives with new possibilities that will bring you more peace, more joy, more love in your life and freedom. Do you struggle trying to build your strategy? Do you know how to reach your end results? If not, Gigi Ames is your expert in strategy and helping you create your step-by-step game plan to reach your finish line. For more information on creating the life you want to live, reach out to Bill Henrich. Or if Gigi Ames can help you with building your strategy with your end goal in sight, go to SpeakersPathway.com. That is SpeakersPathway.com.
It's words you never heard.
Have you heard about Mel and Joy Schwanke, a Nebraska couple that have worn matching outfits for the last 35 years? Apparently, they have over 140 matching outfits, all custom-made, which typically match her dress with his tie. The couple is a match made in heaven. Neither one of them can remember the exact date they started this quirky tradition, but they both contend it's one of the elements that have held their marriage together an impressive 65 years. What do you call a marriage between well-matched people? Nomagamosis. Mr. and Mrs. Schwanke say that Velcro connects them because they do everything together. If you like doting on your wife with excessive fondness, you would be uxorious. And a woman who is excessively devoted to her husband is meritorious.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Grant. Your Future Is Now is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com, and Dandy Don, being the co-founder of SpeakersPathway.com, you have some complimentary gifts there. Would you be kind to share one with the audience, please?
I absolutely do. So if you go to SpeakersPathway.com, that's our homepage, and right in the center where you can't miss it is a button for complimentary gifts. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a gift from one of our executive training directors, Preston Martelli. And Preston is a branding, marketing, I call him Mr. Online, right? He's Google certified. Every time I talk to him, he gives me a new tool that I'm like, oh my goodness, I couldn't buy this, right? And so what his offer is to give you a 90-step action step to boost your brand. 90 steps that you can take, that some of them are simple, some of them are complicated, but 90 things that you can do to boost your brand. So that is what Preston is offering to you. All you got to do is go to speakerspathway.com, complimentary gifts, scroll down, and then press the button, get free gift under Preston's name.
Wow, that's really amazing. You know, the thing about Preston really impresses me. He lives the laptop lifestyle career because him and his family, they took a trip around the world for 1 year, and Preston conducted all of his business because he has laptop and Wi-Fi. And that's what he brings to the party. Before the break, my goodness, Dandy Don, Jackie was laying some gold nuggets on us, wasn't she?
Really was. I mean, what struck me is how, we've been taught a certain way about networking, and that's part of what makes them tiring and exhausting for us. And Jackie is turning that on its head for us. And I can't wait. Jackie, what else can you share with us and with the audience about how to really flip things around and make these work for you?
Well, what I'm finding out is that people don't realize the value of meeting one person. One person knows at least 600 people. Get a grip. 600 people. Do you suppose that would help your business? Amen.
Wow.
So when you realize the potential of knowing one person, you have to be a lot more selective as to who that person would be. So first you look at your own target audience, and I consider them 6 of them. First, there's a small business owner. There's home family. There's women. There's entertainment. There's health. And there's the baby boomer. So find out where you are. You may be in 4 or maybe even as many as 5, but choose one for when you go to the event so you know who your target is. Then consider anyone in the event, or in that case in your database, targeting the same people. That's the most important part of the whole thing, is to go and find alliances. And to look for those, because when you get the alliances and you work with them, you become remarkable, and they tell the same common audience, and that's who's going to be the big mouth, hopefully, that's going to be able to have you become word of mouth because they know, like, and trust you, and it's the same target audience. So people don't realize the things that can come from just talking to one person. So what I do is I break it into literally 3 areas. It's the dance, it's the courting, and it's the partnering. Now, when I talk about the obvious 3 areas in our life, all of them are based on what I call the 5 C's. The 5 C's are commonalities. That's what brings us together in the first place. The second is communication, and that communicates that we have commonalities. So now we're building up. The third is to commit to work together, and that's typically where people kind of fall down, is that commitment. When they realize, though, there are a possibility of 600 people in every one that they meet, the commitment should make a lot of sense. So the commitment and then the contribution, you contribute to that relationship. And then when you do it with an open mind and continue with your own expertise without judgment, you get collaboration. And all of that together, in my world, provides the glow, the guided love of wholeness. So I look at the networking process. The dance is going to the networking event where you're talking about commonalities and communicating that. The courting is the one-on-ones, and I consider having two of them. The first is to get to know them personally, and the second is to get down to business. And that's where you create your strategic alliances or people that are going to really promote you because they're going the same direction and they have the same way of looking at life. So it's like a best friend. And then the partnering is when you get together with the commitment and the contribution, and you now collaborate with events that you do together, like maybe a women's night out or a realtor having a landscape person or a tile person or a remodeling person and entertaining the new homeowner that knows nothing about the area. So you're getting together with that alliance team, and each of you knows 600 people. So now you should have a lot of people to talk to. And the power of that versus just one person, I mean, it exponentially is huge.
I have a question, Jackie. I got a question that's knocking around in my mind as you're talking. So, I think there's people out there, myself included, who have found people who are, great collaborators or moving the same direction. And sometimes you might get a lot of these things going on and you start falling down. Like you start falling down because you can't make your commitment to this one or that one, and they peter out and you lose whatever momentum. Any guidance to someone out there to help them to know how to vet these properly or balance and not take on too many of these things?
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite a little science of its own. And in that second one-on-one, you need to figure out how dedicated they are. And I've had more than several people say to me, well, yeah, I'm a realtor and I've given them all kinds of resources, but funny thing, they're not giving me houses. Well, obviously they're not. But the point is that you need to make that crystal clear when you start. I will be giving you resources. And by the way, I expect the same from you. Now, can you commit to do that? So it's agreeing to this at the very first of the relationship. Mm-hmm. The second is that, don't take on too many of them, but you also have to realize that since it is equal, you're going to need to be able to give them things. Maybe it's an article. Maybe it's going to an event like the iNetwork. I love that because pay attention. Go together, introduce each other to people. That's word of mouth, by the way. And when it comes out of the other guy's mouth, it makes a lot more sense than you saying it. So go to these events. Or one of my favorite was that I had a fellow who sold office copiers. He would bring to people when he went to maintain those copiers, he'd bring the guy that did all the supplies. So it was like, whoa. You really recommend this company? Yeah, I do. We use them all the time. Well, who wouldn't use them now that we know that you're wonderful? So it's what you can actually do together and maintain that relationship. Yeah, it is like a partnering. You have to continue to work it, and you have to have it equal. Is it hard? I guess it could be, but you have to pay attention because what you can get out of it is a lot more than one customer.
Absolutely. And what you were talking about there, that's what we experience when we go to a network together event. Don and I, we enjoyed that one we went to in Scottsdale, and both of the iNetwork Expo events. What Jackie is saying there in Phoenix or Chandler where they hold the events, my goodness gracious, that's what we walked into. So that's why we say it's like a family reunion or a welcome home, long lost friend. I mean, it's just a joy to go there because when I walk in, my attitude is, can I find that one person that I can be a blessing to? And I really appreciate what you're sharing with the audience, because Dandy Don, my goodness gracious, that's what I like about you. You're always looking at how you can help someone. And being the speaking geek, you're glad to share some good speaking advice to people. And that just dominoes back on you, doesn't it, brother?
It really does. I mean, one of our executive training directors, Bill Heinrich, Jim and I actually use him as our business coach.
Yes.
And he will tell us to follow the energy. Whenever we're confused about, okay, do we do this or that, he'll say, follow the energy. And I think it links back to one of the things Jackie said is, you're not on the hunt, right? You're looking for these natural things that will lead you in places you have no idea where they're going to lead you. But you have to just have that faith and follow the energy.
Yeah. Exactly right. And Jackie, I tell you, it's just some of the things that you've shared with the folks. I am so glad that we've got you on our show, because it's going to be downloaded by thousands of people. We get thousands of downloads a day, as you probably already figured out. But the point of it is how many lives you're going to be touching, and how many wow moments is the audience going to be getting from you being a guest on our show. Oh, my goodness. I can't thank you enough for just that alone. I mean, it's just tremendous, Jackie. It really is.
Well, thank you very much. I want people to realize that in their very own database, they do have a gold mine. And I have a Jumpstart program, and I help them to bring out 4 alliances that they had no clue were in there, and give them a strategy on how to work with those people to make themselves word of mouth. So it's the database actual mining and a mindset, and it comes with a workbook on how to bring those out, that they're just sitting there waiting for you. And as you said, you had them in a box or a bag, a lot of good that's going to do. So when you start to really look at your own database, the Jumpstart becomes really important. And I do give a one Clarity from Chaos session as well, which is complimentary hour, where I help you, I brainstorm with you on new niches and then new alliances that you hadn't even thought about. And then that would hopefully go into a Jumpstart. So, I hope I brought some thoughts to mind that weren't there before. So you need to choose people with a lot of influence and big mouths.
Would you be kind enough to share your website so people could find you and how to find Jackie on the internet?
Yeah, Network Builders with an S, Arizona.com, and Jackie at JACQUE. Jackie at Network Builders with an S, Arizona all spelled out.com. So yes, would love to be able to talk to anybody.
We'll be right back right after these messages.
Your Future Is Now is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com, and just like the show, we are dedicated and aligned in perfect harmony with the same vision and mission of helping people define their future. You may have heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a video is worth 1,000 pictures. Koji Sumaldi says if you're not using video in 2019, you're going to get left behind. Most people feel lost or confused when it comes to marketing. Preston Martelli is a marketing guru whose strategies are both art and science in growing your business. Preston helps you make the right decisions that are predictable, measurable, and scalable. For additional information about Koji, Preston, or any of our executive training directors, go to our website at speakerspathway.com. That is speakerspathway.com.
Which U.S. state would you guess has the fastest talkers? Recent research by analytics company Marchex revealed that the nation's fastest talkers come from Oregon, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Kansas, and Iowa. What about New York, you ask? New York ranked near the bottom at 38. But New Yorkers do use more words. A New Yorker will use 62% more words than someone from Iowa who have the same basic conversation. What's another word for fast-talking? Tachylaya. America's slow-spoken or tardiloquent talkers were from North Carolina, Alabama, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Mississippi. What's a word for someone who likes to say the same thing over and over? A batologist.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Grant. Your Future is Now is sponsored by SpeakersPathway.com and Dandy Don. You're the co-founder of SpeakersPathway.com. And, brother, you've got some complimentary gifts there. Would you be so kind as to share one of these with the audience, please?
I'd be thrilled to do so. I mentioned Bill Heinrich a few minutes ago before the break. And like I said, Jim and I actually turned to him as our business coach for Speakers Pathway. And Bill has a complimentary gift. All you have to do is go to speakerspathway.com. Right in the middle, you can't miss it. Click the button right in the middle that says complimentary gifts. Scroll a little bit down, and Bill is offering some tools about the law of attraction, how to attract the things that you want that in the universe in ways that the universe will deliver it to you. So, absolutely fantastic stuff, mind-blowing stuff. He's a high-level business coach, but he says, A, he and his clients never talk about business, and B, he 100% guarantees his work. So just go ahead, go get that valuable information from our website.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like Don says, we use Bill as our coach because he's all about clarity of mind and thinking and what's the right path for you. And Bill will also give you a free 30-minute one-on-one counseling. Just get in touch with him there at his website. All the information's there at speakerspathway.com because that may be what you're needing and might need very much because we need his help from time to time. And before the break, we've been during the show, we've had this wonderful lady on. She's a guru about how to network in the proper way of networking. And when I saw the title of her show, Turning Business Cards to Gold, I mean, Dandy Don, we've been so proud of our business cards. We wanted to bronze them, but that's not where it's at, is it?
No, it's absolutely not. In fact, Jackie, I've got 12 business cards that I just picked up from the pile that I said that I had on my desk from something I went to before I went on my trip. There's 12 of them. And I put the people into my database. How much am I leaving on the table by just, putting in my database and just tagging where I met them?
Well, basically, you're just sitting there looking at gold. I mean, you've lost. Depends on where they're going. I mean, I could look at all 12, and if they are targeting, because you guys are targeting the business owner mostly, if any of them are targeting the business owner, or it could be women, those areas, they should definitely be talked to, because if it's the same target, that's the first sort. The first sort is to see if they're going in the same direction. Of course, you're going to put all of those cards in a database, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we are.
We could go into that in a whole talk just on the database. But how else are you going to know who they are or get them later or approach them with a campaign or whatever it is? You need to put them in something digital. And when you get those cards, that's the first sort. To put them in the database, tell yourself, is that a resource? Is it an alliance? Is it a strategic alliance? And then the next thing, what you're going to do is you're going to communicate with them. And I have a script that I give people. So, you communicate, and then you have the one-on-one and decide whether they're going to be a viable strategic alliance. So the process is relatively simple, but you're actually looking for alliances. You're not looking for customers as much because you want to get these mouthpieces to be able to know what you can do so that you are going to have them do a lot of it for you. Does that help?
I'm sitting here, I'm a numbers guy, right? So I'm thinking, every one of these cards has the potential to have access to 600 people.
Absolutely.
And let's say, 1% of those people is a client that I could potentially get, right? So if I do the math, that's at least a few people in there, right?
Absolutely.
So you're right. It's gold. It's a gold mine done properly.
Yeah, depending on the actual cost of whatever it is you sell or the price, put that in the formula, and my gosh, you're leaving a lot on the table. And yeah, it's the dance and the court and the partnering is what I said. And most people don't realize what their purpose is for going to the event in the first place. When they designate their purpose is to find an alliance targeting the same people and to see what they can do benefit someone else. I always go with my database in my brain. So by the end of the thing, there's one woman that just cracks up. She says, go with Jackie, because by the end of the thing, she's at least brought 6 people to me, because I know it's like game of match. You're matching them up. So you go to these events with, who can I help? Just as he said, who can I help? Yeah. So that's the concept. So when you're at a basic event, your elevator is your first way for them to know about you, besides walking in the door and your attitude. Your second is giving testimonials for people, and those testimonials will make you visible as long as the testimonials make sense. And she's nice. Nice past. Isn't that sweet? Give me a break. Tell me something they do that I can enjoy. So the point is, give a good testimonial. Now they've seen you twice. And then try to bring in commonalities. That's the most important thing, is to bring in the commonalities. And that's the dance. That's the most important part. And I have a little 4G card, I call it, and I have 10 commonalities that I bring into conversations when I first start out. Or like, what are you passionate about? Or what would you tell somebody starting a business in your area to do or not to do? Or what do you love about your business? These are questions that are open-ended that they can go on forever, and all you have to do is cut them off. And it brings out the commonalities. Then play in there what you know, who you know, so that you can bring the commonalities. So you are building that relationship, and that's what you play on later, and you've already written that on the card, hopefully, so you remember what you said. So the email that goes back to them says, well, we discussed X, Y, and Z, and now tell me again exactly who you're looking for, what it is that you're doing, and this kind of a thing. So that builds your relationship, and then a one-liner on, oh, by the way, who do you know that does? And then tell them the description of your alliance.
Jackie, it's official. You've seized up my right hand from taking notes.
I go pretty
It's never
fast.
happened in the history of the show, but you've done it. And so, if I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I can't keep up, I know that you have some resources, and I know you offer an incredible complimentary gift for people. Can you, again, kind of tell people how they can get this and avoid lockup in their right hand?
Right. Well, this is a real simple one. Calendly, Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JACQUE-2/LinkedIn, all one word, -ONE-ON-ONE. That's my schedule. That's my schedule. All you have to do is schedule some time, and we'll talk for approximately an hour. I will help you to brainstorm on new niches that you hadn't thought about, and probably give you alliances, or at least show you what alliances look like. And that's complimentary, absolutely no charge, and it's online. So all we have to do is to look at each other. I can't touch or feel you, but that's probably better all the way around. So the point is, go to calendly.com/JACQUE-LinkedIn-ON-ONE, one-on-one. And that will get my calendar, and I would be delighted to speak with you and bring a whole fresh look at where you're going to another level.
I want to make sure I wrote that down. I'll repeat it again. That's Calendly.com.
Calendly, L-Y.
Okay.
Calendly.
Okay. .com / Jackie, JACQUE 2, the number 2.
But it's -2.
-2. Okay, good. Thank you. And then LinkedIn / one ONE / ON then /1 ONE.
Right.
Okay, great. We'll put that also in the comments there, ladies and gentlemen, the description of the show. And so you can be able to share it with others. And please share it with others. And if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to our show. And thank you again for all the downloads that we're getting. My goodness. And it's all about paying it forward, because that's what, when you were talking about, being at an event and talking to people, and if you're talking very positive about someone, you're automatically sending them a message that if I talk to someone else about you, I'm going to talk and represent you in a great light too. And that's very important. It's very comforting. Mm-hmm. And it's very trusting. Mm-hmm. And I like that, because I tell you again, just turning your business cards into gold, when I saw that, I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting, because I don't know how to do that. And now I'm going to go through the show again. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing it with everyone. And Dandy Donna, how's your writer cramps doing over there, brother?
It's still seized up. I don't know. Sylvia and I are going to the climbing gym this afternoon, and I hope it recovers by the time we're done with lunch. So I do appreciate it. Jackie, I really appreciate all that you've shared. And if you're listening to this and you're frustrated by going to networking events and you feel like they're a waste of your time, let me assure you, they are one of the critical tools you have that you need in your business. And take Jackie up on her offer. Get with her on a session. Do it. Just don't think about it. Just do it.
Absolutely. And I like to close out the show by talking a little bit about Network Together and the iNetwork Expo that's coming up later on this month, October. It's the date 25th?
24th.
On a 24th on a Thursday. And I'm sure you're going to be there, right, Jackie?
Oh, yeah. Bells ringing. Mardi Gras party.
Oh, okay. Well, can you share a little bit about what the event will be like and who might be there besides me and Don and 500 other people?
I don't know all the speakers committed to heart, but they will have some pretty amazing speakers. He gets better. They get better every time they have it. I think you can agree on that.
Dandy Don, you're going to be on the panel, aren't you?
I'll be speaking. Hopefully I don't break that trend.
Good. Good. Yeah, the panels.
I'll keep the trend going.
The panels have been really great. And it's a time. Robert hadn't done that. I mean, Network Together hadn't done that before. And when you bring up professionals that are in the trenches in these areas, I can't remember all of them. I'm not doing a real great job of advertising. But the point is, the panels really have great professionals that bring insight and you can ask questions and all kinds of good things.
Yeah, you can go to networktogether.net. and just click on events. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.